beating him in the ground game, holding multiple rallies across several swing states this week, while Trump held one in Montana. She is beating him in the enthusiasm game, with huge crowds lining up for miles and packing arenas to see her. She's rising in the polls, leading in the three crucial states of Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, according to a new poll from the New York Times out just this weekend. And she is definitely beating him in the running mate game.
Madam Vice President, I want to say thank you for putting the trust in me to be your running mate. She has done so much, and with you together, it's reminded us about something. It's reminded us that this work can be about goodness. It can be about smiling.
Well, I smile at a lot of things, including bogus questions from the media, man.
Vice President Harris believes in those freedoms. She knows that every single person should get a chance at the middle class. She believes in something so beautiful, the promise of America.
They'd want to have a beer with me because I actually do like to drink beer, and I probably like to drink beer a little bit too much, but that's okay.
My mom and dad taught us, show generosity towards your neighbors and work for a common good.
I figured I'd come by and Warren just get a good look at the plane. Hopefully it's going to be my plane in a few months.
And just like her running mate, Harris is exciting, energetic, and joyful, while Trump, like Vance, is boring and mad and dark.
Our campaign is not just about us versus Donald Trump. It's about two different visions for our nation. One, ours, focused on the future. The other, focused on the past.
We're going to evict crazy Kamala.
We fight for the future. A future with affordable health care, affordable child care, and paid leave.
They said, oh, she had a big crowd. Oh, the crowd. The press is talking about the crowd. In New Jersey, I had 107,000 people. The press never even talked about it.
We love our country, and I do believe it is the highest form of patriotism to fight for the ideals of our country.
You know, it's interesting. Nobody really knows her last name. If you ask people, do you know what her last name is? Nobody has any idea what it is. Harris. It's like Harris. I don't know. How the hell did this happen?
That's a good question. Folks, the spotlight on Harris and all of the joy surrounding her campaign is clearly driving Donald Trump just a bit crazy. And he's getting desperate, holding an hour-long rambling press conference at Mar-a-Lago and re-agreeing to debate Harris after backing out and trying to set the terms of the debate himself. And he's getting defensive, resorting to his playbook of insults and name-calling, and rage posting on Truth Social about crowd sizes. Here's the bottom line on all of this. Team Harris is on the rise. Team Trump is flailing, I would say even flatlining. They know it, and you and I know it. So they are getting real desperate, real defensive, and real divisive. But nothing they say, none of it is sticking. None of it is working. And those crowds for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, well, they just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Molly John Fast is a special correspondent for Vanity Fair and host of the Fast Politics podcast. Matthew Dowd, my old friend, was the chief strategist for the Bush-Cheney 2004 campaign. Man, that was a long time ago, bro. And they both join me now. It's great to see you guys. So, Matt, let's just start with you. Man, you and I been in the GOP space a long time. You found the off-ramp. I'm still driving Miss Daisy down this thing. I see a very defensive Trump campaign right now. I see a campaign that hasn't figured out in 3.5 weeks how to narrate a story around Kamala Harris to blunt the success out of the gate. What do you say?
Exactly the same thing. I don't think they have any idea how to deal with both the vice president and with Governor Walz. I don't think they have a clue of what to do. And I think what upsets them more is the happiness and joy by which those two campaign, by the ways Harris and Walz both campaign. I think that even makes them angrier in the course of this. And I think we're at such a moment. I mean, the country has been, I wrote about this weekend, such a trauma that a moment of joy actually just comes to be a huge breath of fresh air the country needs. It can exhale. It no longer feels like it has to be in a constant fight. It no longer thinks it has to flee. It no longer feels like it's in fear. And I think that's what I think is most unnerving to the Trump campaign. It's not the issue sets and all of that, which I think Harris and Walz have an advantage on. It's the tone and nature of the way they're campaigning that I think any one of us has even been close to a campaign knows the campaigns that are most happy and most fun almost always win.
That is very true, Molly. I mean, there's something to say about joy. It's a bit infectious, right? It makes you want to be a part of something. What we see with Donald Trump right now, that he's clearly mad. He's frustrated. He's angry. He's not doing well. He's watching these crowd sizes. And I submit to you, Molly, that's what actually drew him to have the press conference, was the report about the crowd sizes more than anything else, more than his vice presidential pick and the crazy from that. It was the thing that struck at his core the most, and that is fewer people like him than like her. How do you see this momentum shift for the campaign right now as they're drawing more people out? They're gaining ground in the important swing states. How do they take advantage of this momentum as they get ready for their convention?
Well, I think it's important to realize just one more thing about Trump is Trump has been running for president since 2016, right? He's run and he's often used some of the same attacks. So he's used the same attacks on Hillary Clinton, on Joe Biden, and now he's using those same attacks on Harris. And, you know, that's a long time to be using these attacks. And so, you know, he keeps saying, you know, if you vote for her, you're not going to have a country anymore. He said that same thing about Joe Biden. We still have a country. And I think he's having a lot of trouble adapting to a new candidate. And he's just sort of stuck in it, which is kind of, you know, amazing. And now you have Democrats going into this convention already. Harris is doing quite well in polls. You know, we all are a little skeptical about polls, but the direction is certainly very important. So she could not be in a better place to head into a campaign, into a convention, which tends to historically provide a bounce.
So let's shift a little bit, Matthew, and sort of pull the lens out a little bit further on the debate stage, because that now is also shifting from what it was to something a little bit crazy now into something a little bit more settled. Trump is still out there, of course, talking about a Fox debate that no one has agreed to but him. It does seem like he is going to debate on September 10th against Harris at that point. How do you assess this this aspect of this? With the September 10th debate as a lock, is there an incentive for the other two to take place at Fox and then NBC a little bit later in the month of September? Or how do you see the debate advantage or disadvantage for both of these candidates?
I'm not convinced that Trump's going to show up on September 10th. I think he announced this thing early this morning where I'm going to do the Fox debate, and then we have the ABC debate, and then we have the NBC debate, as if he's saying if she doesn't show up to his invented Fox debate, that somehow gives him permission to not do any debates in this. So I think in the end, he has to show up because I think it's the only moment left in the campaign that he can blunt the momentum of VP Harris in this campaign. It's the only big moment left. Yes, there's TV ads, and yes, there's organization, and yes, there's press conferences, but the debate is the only way to shift the race, to fundamentally shift the race back to his terrain in the course of this. I think she's exactly right to say, let's have the debate, and then we can decide if there's more debates in the course of this. I don't necessarily think holding a debate on Fox News, which denied the election results and had to pay almost $800 million, is the place to do it. NBC may be a place to do it in the course of this. And I think she could easily draw the line and saying election deniers are not going to hold a debate, but I'm happy to do another one in this. I think she is in a perfect position in the negotiation of the process because he needs to debate a lot more than she does. And she's got a huge advantage just by, as I said earlier, by tone and by substance in the course of this to present herself in the debate. They are in the driver's seat. And this race is fundamentally, she has her hands on the steering wheel in this race. The Olympics ended today. The Democratic convention starts in a week or so. Mm-hmm. So she's got her hands on the steering wheel of this all the way through Labor Day in this. And as I said, the only way Donald Trump can change the narrative and storyline of this race that's developed so far and is beginning to solidify to her advantage is through the debate.
Yeah, I agree with that analysis all the way through, because I think there is no incentive, Molly, for the vice president to play the Fox game. Why would you go in the House of Deniers? Right? Why would you go into the House of Election Deniers and pretend that this is normal, number one? Number two, you've got the momentum going into your convention. You're going to have the momentum coming out of the convention. So work to that. You've got a debate on the 10th, and you may decide we'll do one later in the month or early October. But that advantage is clearly hers. The disadvantage, however, still lies with Trump, debate or no debate, around his vice presidential pick, because the New York Times is out here this morning reporting that when he was asked about Democrats trying to paint his ticket as weird, and by the way, they are weird, Trump said, quote, "Not about me. They're saying that about JD." Vance was asked about that in an interview this morning, and let's have some fun.
The New York Times reports that when Donald Trump was asked about it, he said, "Not me, they're talking about JD."
Well, certainly they've levied that charge against me more than anybody else, but I think that it drives home how they're trying to distract from their own policy failures. I mean, look, this is fundamentally schoolyard bully stuff. They can accuse me of whatever they want to accuse me of. I accept their attacks, but I think that it is a little bit of projection.
I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to laugh coming back into this, but when you're funny, JD. I'm sorry. I mean, without any irony, without any hint of irony, Molly, he's accusing Democrats of name-calling. I'll just let you roll with that for a moment.
Well, it's ironic because Trump was famous for his nicknames, right? In 2016, he nicknamed all his Republican primary competition, and he did it quite successfully, right? Lion Ted, Little Marco. He's had trouble capturing that quote unquote, I don't want to say magic, but he was able to make bullying part of the Republican primary fight. So I do think it's ironic. I would also add, remember, there's a reason why Donald Trump's previous vice president can't run with him. And every time I see this, I want to remember, like, Mike Pence, who is now, I think, is he a never Trumper? I don't know for sure, but there's, he created the permission structure to let evangelicals vote for Trump. And now, where is he?
Molly, Young Fat's giving me the laugh. Molly, thank you so much. Matthew Dowd, thank you. Appreciate you, brother. Coming up, Jen sat down with House Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi this week for a fascinating conversation that you just don't want to miss. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back, folks.
You've got your Sunday obsession, and we got you. Now with Verizon, get NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube TV on us. And a great deal on Galaxy Z Fold 6 for a total value of $1,250. Only on Verizon.
See you Sunday.
Oh, man, I love a good hotel breakfast.
Same.
Yeah, so close to the stadium. I managed to get the last room for $190.
I booked the last room a week ago.
I booked yesterday. One night, $140.
What?
How?
Some sites panic you into booking their last room, but they don't have all the availability. Instead, use Trivago. Trivago compares hotel prices from hundreds of sites, so you can save up to $50 a night.
Well, at least I got the last ticket to the game.
So did I.
Hotel? Trivago.
Switch to Shopify and sell smarter at every stage of your business. Take full control of your brand with your own custom store. Scale faster with tools that let you manage every sale from every channel. And sell more with the best converting checkout on the planet. A lot more. Take your business to the next stage when you switch to Shopify.
Life is better with the credit gods on your side. Rewards once available to the few are now accessible to the many. Credit One Bank. Get cash back rewards and live large.
What will you do when the power goes out? Power outages can be unpredictable and inconvenient, but with a Generac home standby generator, your life goes on uninterrupted because you'll have power when you need it the most.
The number one thing to prepare for is extended power outages. Don't make it so hard on yourself. Have a Generac home standby generator.
And special financing and low monthly payment options are available. Call or go online now to request your free quote. Power your life with Generac.
I have, over my 30 years, seen many patients who have excessive sweating. I recommend Carpe. It's a game changer.
Carpe is up to 3 times stronger than a regular strength antiperspirant. Try it today at mycarpe.com with limited time free shipping.
I've been having UTIs for 10 years.
It was wreaking havoc on my body.
It's just kind of felt like an impossible problem. And that's when I came across Eucora.
Founded by a chronic UTI sufferer on a mission to help others just like her. At Eucora, we make UTI relief products. We also make proactive urinary tract health products using science-backed ingredients. Take control of your urinary health.
I'm really grateful for Eucora.
Finally, there's a better way. Discover the support you've been looking for. Try today at eucora.com.
I was seeing this bra all over my Instagram feed.
This is the most comfortable bra I've ever put on in my life. So not only is it super supportive, lifting and smoothing, but you have all that without an underwire and without a ton of padding.
If you're looking at this and it's available, I promise you won't regret it.
Free returns on all orders.
Want the effects of Viagra, but faster? Meet Rose Sparks. They contain sildenafil and tadalafil, but Sparks dissolve under the tongue. Dissolvables work faster than old school pills. Connect with a medical provider at ro.co/sparks.
This is the story of the one who believes being prepared is not just a way of life, it's how he helps everyone stay safe. He sweats the small stuff before it becomes big stuff. For the one, being an unsung hero in a building full of everyday heroes is just how he likes it. The industrial-grade products you need delivered fast. Call, click Grainger.com or stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Will we see you out on the campaign trail for Vice President Harris?
Yes, you will. I talk to her frequently, and by the way, I've known her running mate is a great guy. As we say, if we grew up in the same neighborhood, we'd have been friends. He's my kind of guy. He's real, he's smart. I've known him for several decades. I think it's a hell of a team.
That was President Biden talking about Governor Tim Walz in a interview that aired this morning on CBS. And Governor Walz is one of the many topics that Jen discussed with House Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi this week. Here's their conversation.
You've known Tim Walz for a long time. You spoke glowingly about him. I remember in 2006 when he was running for Congress, and a lot of people liked him, but didn't think he could necessarily win. But what I love about that is that he just connected with people in his district. You know him well. What do you hope the American public sees about who he is as a human being?
Well, he's the all-American man. I mean, he's just fabulous. And that year, we even had some contention within the Democrats about the priority of that race. My daughter, Christine, was doing boot camps. She loves to train candidates and the rest. And he was one of her boot campers. But nonetheless, a very difficult Republican seat. But he really did connect. Connect as a long-term, long-serving veteran now, and then as a person who grew up on the farm and worked in agriculture, could speak to rural America. Just a lovely family man. His wife, Gwen, they were a team, really, coming to Congress. And, of course, their children were little then, now they're bigger. But he was part of our big victory that year to take back the House for the Democrats, for the American people, for the children, and he was part of our victory to pass the Affordable Care Act.
So such a big part of your legacy and certainly his. We knew the Republicans would go after him because that's what they do. And they've been going after him and calling him dangerously liberal, a San Francisco liberal. Nothing wrong with that, but I don't think he is one. They've been calling him Tampon Tim, which is a dig at his support for a state law that required public schools to have menstrual products, which, by the way, is a great thing. And now they're trying to attack, I'm going to say, Swiftboat, his military record.
Yes.
He served for 24 years in the National Guard. He was the highest enlisted member of Congress, had been the highest ranking enlisted member of Congress when he was in Congress, and did an enormous amount on the Veterans Affairs Committee. What do you say to these efforts to attack his military record?
Well, first of all, it's a sign of the bankruptcy of their ideas. They don't have anything to say, so they make up things. So first of all, he was in the National Guard 20 years. He thought he'd stay 20 years, but then 9/11 happened, so he signed up for 4 more years. He retired from that to run for Congress months before his unit was assigned to being deployed. So it was after he left. So they're just trying to confuse things. But he came to Congress and was respected by our colleagues, elected to be the top Democrat on the Veterans Affairs Committee, where he, and working with Chet Edwards on the Appropriations Committee and he on the Authorizing Committee, made historic advances for veterans, meeting their needs, more than had been done since the GI Bill during World War II.
Do you think, and I was referencing, and I worked on John Kerry's campaign, and you worked hard on the outside of John Kerry's campaign, and he was swift-voted in that period of time. Yeah. I'm just curious, even though these are baloney charges, absurd on a man who served in the National Guard, should they be punching back at this? Should they call it out?
They should just dismiss it, because if people lie, as they are lying, and you hear the lie enough times, it sort of becomes some kind of accepted in their in their group. And so you have to say, no, that didn't happen. Like they're criticizing him about Minneapolis, and the president praised him, and we have it on tape.
Yeah,
he praised him how it went. So the reality has to be driven home. I'm not one to let their misrepresentations persist. And by the way, he signed up for he was there for 20 years. Then when 9/11 happened, he signed up for 2 more terms of office. So, and then he left, and then his unit was deployed. So the timing is very important to note, because he really was only going for 20 years, but because of 9/11 persisted. So he has been a consistent, patriotic, courageous American.
I've seen up close the relationship you have with President Biden, and he respects you, he loves you. That's what I saw when I was working for him. And you've known each other for so long. And David Remnick asked you if you thought your relationship would survive after President Biden dropped out, and you said, "I hope so, I pray so, I cry so." And you said you lose sleep over it. And I just was wondering how this has impacted you personally the last couple of weeks.
Well, it's been again, his legacy as a preeminent president, and it's hard to, he's right there among the top few, a very consequential president. I wanted the decision to be a better campaign so that we could win. I did not think we were on a path to victory. So that was really more the thing. He made his decision that would be accomplished by him stepping aside.
You said, to your point, I've never been that impressed with his political operation.
No.
What was it about the operation? We have a gut instinct about this. You've been a part of many winning cycles. What was it about that, and was it more that than about him as a candidate?
Oh, yeah, it was about that. I praise them. He was elected President of the United States, and that was a very important election for our country. A very important election. So I praise him and them for that.
The Harris-Walz campaign is only a couple weeks old. Have you been more impressed with that political operation?
They've done, I think, see about Kamala.
It's a lot of the same people, but.
Yeah, and more, some more in there, but the operation was there. So, but the thing is that she is personally very faith-filled, and that translates into her civic responsibilities and the rest that, in a very faith-filled way. That's so personally, I see that. Officially, she's strong about the issues. You see one of them, the woman's right to choose, but there's so many others. She's strong in that regard officially, and politically, she's very astute, and people just don't realize that. She won against the incumbent for a district attorney. She won in a very competitive race for attorney general, but she figured it out. She figured out she was behind, and then she won. And then she won for Senate. That was easier. And then, as soon as this, shall we say, I don't want to say opportunity because, well, this opportunity came along, she just rolled and did it gracefully, respectfully, and in every way, and saw her political astuteness. Personally, officially, politically, she's ready.
Given your long friendship with President Biden and how much you have long loved each other, worked together so many times, I know you haven't talked, unless you tell me you have talked, since he decided not to run. Is there a way back with your friendship?
Let me just say, in our family, we have 3 generations of love for Joe Biden. My husband and I, of course, we've known him for a very long time, respect him, love him, and he and Jill are so remarkable, and their family. Our kids have always loved him. I have pictures with him from our children growing up, and now our grandchildren growing up. So we have 3 generations of love for him, and you know, I hope that would sustain as we go forward. But the most important thing we have to do is to win the election, to sustain his legacy, and to have the legacy be to do even more in the presidency and the vice presidency of Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Onward to victory. One good day in front of another. Organize, own the ground with mobilization, message with boldness and progressiveness, but non-menacing. The money to get the job done, it's all in place. One good day in front of another. No wasted time, no underutilized resources, and no regrets the day after the election that we could have done more.
Okay, folks, stay right where you are because more of Jen's interview with Nancy Pelosi is coming up after a very quick break.
Meet the Jennifers, each planning their future through the Chase mobile app. Hello, new apartment. One bank for now, for later, for life. Chase, make more of what's yours.
What if you could whiten your teeth by simply brushing your teeth? Now you can with Smile Actives, the teeth whitening breakthrough that safely gets your teeth white and keeps them white every day, just by brushing your teeth.
I never thought that whitening my teeth could be so easy. I just put the gel on the brush, the toothpaste on it, brush, and I can see my white teeth.
Simply add Smile Actives to any toothpaste, and our patented PolyClean technology activates into a powerful microfoam that penetrates into the enamel surface to safely lift and remove stains.
You need a simple way to whiten your teeth. Without strips, without trays, without going to the dentist. And it was about time that a product was developed that you would be able to do that with just brushing.
And now, Smile Actives is even better with new Pro Whitening Gel with 33% greater whitening power, clinically shown to whiten teeth faster, up to 8 shades. 100% of users saw whiter teeth. On food stains, coffee and wine stains, even on veneers, crowns, and dentures.
I eat the blueberries, I drink the coffee, and I know that Smile Actives will keep my teeth white every day.
If you could use something so easy like Smile Actives to take yellow teeth to white teeth, why wouldn't you?
Why spend hundreds of dollars for whitening treatments at the dentist when now you can whiten your teeth with new Smile Actives Pro Whitening Gel every time you brush your teeth? Call or go to smileactives.com and for a limited time get new Pro Whitening Gel for just $24.95. Order in the next 5 minutes and buy one, get one absolutely free for just $24.95. That's 2 for 1 and save 58%. We'll even include free shipping. Get your teeth whiter guaranteed or return it within 60 days for your money back.
I smile every day now. The difference is literally night and day.
So now I'm always smiling, always choosing, because now my teeth are much whiter.
This offer is not available in stores, so call or click now before the special buy one, get one free offer goes away.
Take a pea-sized amount, apply it like a lotion. Pits, under boob, thigh folds, butt cracks, feet. This water-based cream, I'm telling you, it's invisible on the skin. It works like a dream. Why didn't someone think of this sooner?
Hi, I'm Jay Jackson. For almost 20 years, Abacus Life has been purchasing life insurance policies from seniors. And in just seconds, you can use the free calculator at abacuspays.com to learn what your policy might be worth.
For many of my clients, selling their life insurance to Abacus was right for them and their estate plan.
Don't sell or lapse your policy without going to abacuspays.com first. There are no fees and no obligations. Get the real value from your life insurance when you need it with Abacus.
We all know what it's like to worry, to not know where our dog is gone. Say goodbye to that with Tractive. Follow every step and find your dog in no time. Set virtual fences, monitor their activity, sleep, and get health alerts all in one easy-to-use app with unlimited range and support in over 150 countries. Tractive, the GPS tracker trusted by pet parents worldwide. Save 30% for a limited time.
What Tractor Supply customers experience is personalized service made possible by T-Mobile for Business. With T-Mobile's reliable 5G business internet, employees get the information they need instantly. This is how business goes further with T-Mobile for Business.
Certain this is going to work?
Nothing to it.
For Imprint certain?
Certainty matters. 4imprint is your home for promo gear to wow clients and inspire your team. Check out 4imprint.com.
4imprint, for certain.
You don't become one of the most powerful women in politics by accident. And in her new book, The Art of Power, Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi offers a compelling look back on her decades in office. Here's more of Jen's conversation with the Speaker Emerita.
Before you were Nancy Pelosi, you were Nancy D'Alessandro. Your father had a tremendous legacy as the mayor of Baltimore, a longtime member of Congress. He did a lot of things, including working on low-income rental housing. I just want to ask you, as you have kind of risen to be one of the most powerful women, if not the most powerful woman right now in politics, how has he and his career and his life and legacy impacted you?
Well, in terms of my father, he then went on to serve in the Kennedy administration and the Johnson administration. But he started out, as a poor boy. We grew up in Little Italy in Baltimore. Even when he became mayor, people thought we would move, but that wasn't ever going to happen because it's true to his roots and the rest. But he was quite remarkable. He was a great orator. He could turn a room around of people who were booing into people cheering and laughing. He became a real champion for the establishment of a state of Israel in what was Palestine then, and also criticized the Roosevelt administration for not doing more to help the Jewish people in Europe. Worshipped at the shrine of Franklin Roosevelt, was one of the early Italian Americans to serve in Congress.
Very gutsy. I think maybe that's part of the legacy that's been passed on and fearless.
But I don't want to knock my mother because she was the organizer. He was the orator and the policymaker, and she was all of those things, but the organizer.
No, I love that. Important to include. You also talk about your Catholic faith. I wanted to ask you about this because I think you've had some moments that I imagine have been difficult, as President Biden has, as it relates to faith. Because in 2022, the head of the San Francisco Archdiocese said you should be prohibited from receiving communion in any San Francisco diocese because of your support of abortion rights. And there are a lot of, I think, up-and-coming politicians who have a similar struggle, right? They want to be true to their faith. They want to be true to what they believe politically. What do you tell them, and how have you dealt with that personally?
Well, in being true to our faith, we want people to be true to their faith. And that's the way it is. I mean, I came from an Italian Catholic family who were not exactly where I was on a woman's right to choose, even though I was imbued growing up with the fact that we all have a free will and have a responsibility to live up to our responsibilities. And so I felt very comfortable about having public policy that enabled people to live up to their responsibilities. our Archbishop, he's the head of every parade against women's rights and women's right to choose and LGBTQ. I don't have very much in common with him when it comes to the what I call the cultural issues. I'm very happy, though, that when I go to church in Washington, D.C., the cardinal here had a letter read in every parish in his diocese that communion was not a political weapon and no one would be turned away from the altar for that.
You also speak glowingly, I kind of love this part of the book, about the Bush family, specifically George H.W. Bush. Your family goes way back.
Yeah.
But you even have some nice things to say about his son, George W. Bush, which might surprise people who read the book because you were a strong opponent of the Iraq War. That is part of his legacy. But talk to me a little bit about your relationship with the Bush family and how that tells you about that period of time in politics.
You know, when you're a new member of Congress, sometimes you don't really know how unpowerful you are. So I went in there, started fighting against our policy on China right after Tiananmen Square. I came in '87, that happened in '89. So I had a disagreement with President George Herbert Walker Bush on that, but we kind of, it was a difference of opinion. It wasn't an animosity. It was just it was policy. It wasn't personal. So we were friends. He was such a
Still got it. And the best part, everyone at Oak Street Health is experienced with people my age.
At Oak Street Health, we specialize in caring for older adults like you with a focus on keeping you healthy. So don't wait. Call today.
Here people get to know me the old-fashioned way.
By listening.
This guy takes all the notes, so my doctor is all eyes on me.
Getting the care you need has never been easier because our team members work together to handle all your healthcare needs.
They even gather all your medical records and health history. So switching to their doctors is easy.
Call 855-263-0139 to schedule a visit and see why we are the only primary care provider to carry the AARP name.
Heather likes things smooth, so she came to Roe to start losing weight with GLP-1s. Now she's on her way to losing 20% of her weight in a year with diet and exercise.
Now that's smooth.
We got you, Heather. Connect with a provider at roe.co/TV.
At SimpliSafe, we build advanced security sensors and cameras for your whole home, powered by 24/7 professional monitoring and Fast Protect technology, exclusively from SimpliSafe for faster police response. There's no safe like SimpliSafe.
I received this bra all over my Instagram feed.
This is the most comfortable bra I've ever put on in my life. So not only is it super supportive, lifting and smoothing, but you have all that without an underwire and without a ton of padding.
If you're looking at this and it's available, I promise you won't regret it.
Free returns on all orders.
Want the effects of Viagra, but faster? Meet Roe Sparks. They contain sildenafil and tadalafil, but Sparks dissolve under the tongue. Dissolvables work faster than old school pills. Connect with a medical provider at roe.co/sparks.
This is a story about the one who keeps it all moving. He is measured, precise. He thinks ahead, stocks the right parts, and knows just where to find them. Because for the one, this facility is about more than business. The industrial-grade products you need delivered fast. Call, click Grainger.com or stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Tonight, one night, two compelling documentaries. At 9, To Be Destroyed, the story of one community's fight against book banning.
My book, along with 4 others, was pulled from the shelves.
Followed by It's Okay, a short film about embracing differences in small-town America.
Can I share some stories with you? It's okay to be different.
Back-to-back documentaries. Tonight at 9 on MSNBC.
Well, that does it for me today. Don't worry, Jim. We'll be back with you tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern. And remember that you can catch me every Saturday and Sunday with my friends Alicia and Simone on the weekend, 8 a.m. Eastern. But for now, stay right where you are because there's so much more news coming up on MSNBC.
Good day from MSNBC's Washington Bureau. Welcome to Alex Witt Reports. I'm Ali Vitale in for Alex. We begin with the campaign for the White House. 85 days to Election Day and 8 days to the Democratic National Convention. Today, Vice President Kamala Harris is in San Francisco for a political event. Donald Trump also fundraising out west this weekend. And as they hit the trail, President Biden opens up, for the first time detailing why he left the race and backed Harris as the nominee in his place.
It was a neck-and-neck race. Would have been down to the wire. But what happened was a number of my Democratic colleagues in the House and Senate thought that I was going to hurt them in the races. And I was concerned if I stayed in the race, that would be the topic. I can't even say how old I am. It's hard for me to get it out of my mouth. And, but things got moving so quickly, it didn't happen. And the combination was that I thought it was a critical issue for me, still is not a joke, maintaining this democracy.
Harris campaign officials picked up that baton and are running with it, hitting swing states to harness the renewed energy and enthusiasm from